We collaborated last week on my podcast, and she is an awesome human. I'm excited to be a guest on hers, and I guarantee I will give lots of energy on hers. I like being the guest. It's always fun. All right, we're good.
All right, awesome. Fun to switch roles.
Yeah, and I love the name of your podcast.
Thank you.
That's what's happening globally and collectively. Speaking of which, I just shared it into a group called Global Lightworkers, which is an awesome group.
Ooh,
Yeah, you'll like that group actually. If you're not a part of that, it's a cool. It's what it is. Global Lightworkers. It's like many thousand people from around the planet.
is that a Facebook group?
Yeah, Facebook group.
I'll have to search that afterwards.
Shout out Global Lightworkers. So I'm now live in your group.
Awesome.
Right.
Well, are you ready? Do we
am.
want to begin?
Let's do it.
All right. So I'm just going to clap to spike the sound to let me know when to start the podcast when I go to edit it. So I'm just going to start by clapping, all right?
Do whatever you need to do, Melissa. It's your show. I am just a guest.
Wonderful. Welcome back to another episode of Awaken My Soul podcast. I am so excited to share with you my next guest today, Noel Strain. He is a light worker. He is a master of abundance. If you check him out on Instagram, you'll see him at the Angel of Abundance. Go and check him out right now. He is full of so much love and light, and I just love what he's doing in the world. Noel Strain grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area as a standout baseball player. Thinking the pros were definitely in his future when an injury in college derailed his career. He felt incredibly lost and was left wondering what he would do with his life. After several challenging years trying to find his life path, Noel attracted a mentor into his life who reintroduced him to spirituality and to the law of attraction. Now, a decade later, Noel has been passionately evolving and becoming more and more aware of his life purpose to inspire, impact, and uplift humanity. Noel loves spreading the awareness around the world of who and what we truly are and what we all can be, do, have, and have anything. And I definitely say that is you. So welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Hello, Awaken Your Soul audience. You guys are awesome, and I haven't even met you yet, and I can just feel the energy because Melissa is such an awesome human in her own right. So I know that this podcast is awesome, and I'm excited to talk to you guys.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
So how I want to begin this episode and every episode is first asking the question, what awakens your soul?
Absolutely. For me, it's just, and thank you for that introduction and all the beautiful things. And if you were reading that, which I think you probably were, you did a great job of like pointing right at the camera because it just seemed like, it's like, did she memorize this? Is it so good?
Thank you.
So thank you for the kind introduction. And that really just highlighted, and to answer the what awakens my soul question, like Melissa really just highlighted because of the challenging parts of all of our journeys, but just mine specifically, where there was a period of time where I felt lost and didn't know who I was, and had an injury that threw off my, what I thought my life was going to be. At that point, I didn't know anything about awakening my soul or anything like that. And all of a sudden, when I had that mentor come in that introduced me to a law of attraction book and, basically spirituality, the light bulb started to go on, like started to shine brighter and, in essence, awaken my soul. And once I realized who and what I truly am, who and what all of us truly are, which is just a different expression of the same non-physical energy that some out there may call God, the universe, love, all that is spirit, force, infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it out there. When I realized that that was me, I could say, okay, even though I didn't make it in, professional sports, I'm still like an awesome human, like all the rest of the awesome humans out there. And so this is a new path. And, being able to be alive and excited about what was coming and, where I was going, even though I didn't have a clear picture yet of what that was going to look like, Really, I mean, my soul's been awakened since then, and it's always evolving. So it wasn't just like rainbows, unicorns, fairy tales, and like, candy corns all for the rest of life. But it was a great start, and I've just been evolving, since then.
Amazing. I love how you attracted a mentor into your life. What would you say this mentor did as far as introducing you to the law of attraction and spirituality? Like, what was the first thing he introduced to you to kind of change everything for you?
Absolutely. Well, thankfully he could see that, and my biggest struggle at that time was trying to manipulate the outside world so that I could feel good on the inside, reaching for success, future success, so that I could replace what I thought I was going to have, being a professional athlete. And so he could see that, and anybody that has already had the light bulb come on knows that's a great recipe to be depressed in the moment. If you're always thinking I'll be happy when I'm successful, or I'm healthy, or I have the relationship, or whatever it is. And so I didn't know that at that time. So just him seeing that and seeing how hard I was trying at this, and like the work that I was putting in, we were inside of the same business at the time. And he said, "Noel, I think you really benefit from reading this book." And just even before I knew what the book was or saw the book, that kind of scared me a little bit, because at that time in my life, I hadn't read a book by choice ever, except for Michael Jordan's Rare Air, which was a picture book. So that was the only book that I read by choice up until then. And the book was The Science of Getting Rich, which was written in 1919 by Wallace Wattles. And thank goodness for me, I think the book might be total like maybe 40 pages. Like, it was a nice thin book. Wasn't a tedious task, and still took me about a day and a half to finish it, but I felt like I couldn't put it down. So that was just someone that I trusted saying this book would be beneficial to you. And that was like how the whole journey really started.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I think something that I really want to point out is how we have this expectation of like the direction that we're headed, right? And then like as we make plan, God laughs, right? Because we get redirected when we start thinking things are being so certain. But the most important part of it is like the essence of what you wanted from baseball is what you were really looking for, like how it would make you feel, the essence. And it's like, do you feel like you've gotten that or better from the work you're doing now? Do you still feel like you have that kind of essence that you are looking for within baseball, but in this path that you're on now?
Absolutely. It's so true what you just said, Melissa. And I think for a lot of us, that's like what we're looking for. It's not necessarily the thing, but how we think the thing will make us feel. And that's totally the case with me, even though I really enjoyed, playing the game and the camaraderie with other people and seeing other people do well and a collective going towards a common goal. That has now turned into what my life is today. And everything that I'm creating has those elements in it, as far as, collaboration and wanting to see everybody do well and going towards a common goal for what we want to see in humanity and all these things. So I totally relate with what you said, and not realizing that at the time. And you're so right. Like, I love to remind people that pretty much everything that has, worked out, where we would say that was something cool that happened in our lives, we couldn't predict any of the things that led up to it. The synchronicities are always just that, things that we can never predict. And life really is just one big synchronicity. So I've learned over time to keep my attention off the hows, the whens, the wheres, the whos, all these details that typically make us anxious, and focus just on, what am I excited about, and the frequency of embodying that now, so I don't need that in order to actually feel that. And that's really one of the biggest secrets, quote unquote, to manifestation, is embodying the frequency and living that way, regardless of if the thing is here or not. So if you already have the frequency, then you really don't need the thing, and then the thing comes.
It's like aligning our mindset with the body, like the physicality, the psychology, what's it called? The physiology, right? So it's like aligning all these elements to really raise our vibration and getting into a state of the thing we want to attract, right?
Absolutely.
Raising our vibration. And I love what you said about books and how you never read for choice, because that's the thing with their school system. Like, I never thought I liked to read until one day I found the spirituality, the self-help section in Barnes and Noble, and it's just like, oh my God, I love to read. As long as I can apply it to my life, you know what I mean? Rather than stuff we're forced to read in school.
Totally.
So if you're out there and you don't think you like to read, give it a go and check out different sections of the bookstore.
It's totally different when you're choosing the book versus the system saying, this is what you must read. Tonight, actually. 2 chapters.
Yes.
I'm like,
yes.
I prefer to not read this tonight, and I won't.
Yes. Like, don't tell me what to do or to read, please. Okay, so I brought you on because I really love your message behind we are all connected and being in the flow of energy and that we can be, do, have anything. So I would love to just open the floor up to you to talk about how we are all connected and like your belief system behind oneness and all of that. I would love to start there.
Great place to start in any conversation. So, we have these cliches that now as far as, we're all connected, we're all one. And I don't know if everybody truly understands yet. They understand, but I don't know if they understand yet consciously what that truly means. And I love being a reminder by example for one, because that's really the best way for us to help anybody with anything is just be example, embody it, live it, be the light. But then also to help people consciously understand what that means. And it just goes back to us all being just different expressions of the same non-physical energy. So you look at Melissa and you say, that's Melissa. You look at Noelle, you say, that's Noelle. You look at whoever you are out there, you say, this is who I am. Well, really, that's just the physical avatar, the physical shell that you chose to embody here in this physical incarnation. The true version of who you really are is what's flowing through you, is what's making up everything that we see in nature, everything that we see, how the planets are orbiting, how the ocean is flowing, and just it's the non-physical energy, the non-physical stuff that makes up who all of us are. And that is, if whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe in, God, universe, love, all that is, source, spirit. And so the cool thing for all of us is when we know that that's what's allowing our hearts to beat, our minds to function, and all the synchronicities to be happening, that's governing the law of attraction, all these things, it's all the same thing at play, the same non-physical energy. And so that can allow us to be super confident, knowing that there's no human out there that's better or worse than us. So if we see another human being doing awesome things, we can be excited for them and we can be inspired by them and say, I love that you're doing that. A, that's making the experience for all of us here in 2020 and beyond way more fun because you're creating that. And B, it's inspiring me to create the things that I'm inspired to create. And I can also be super humble because I can say, well, there's no human being that is any better or worse than me. And also, if I see another human being that might be experiencing a rough time, what I know as humans, we can all be happy, joyful, loving bliss. We could all be powerless, depressed, angry, rage, and everything in between. And so I don't have to judge or condemn another human being just because they may not be experiencing their best moment of life right now. I've been there, and if I haven't, there's a great chance that I'll experience that as a part of the human experience. We all will. So just knowing those two things, I don't see anyone as different. I don't even see people as strangers, just people that our paths haven't been crossed yet. We haven't been attracted into each other's paths yet. I didn't know Melissa existed until 1 second before I did. And then she had a voice message for me inviting her to collaborate with me a second later. So it's the universe can bring people into our paths at any time. And it just fascinates me because that allows us to live life like a little kid, like the adventure of how a little kid wakes up in the morning and it's what's the day going to be like? And they don't care if they're going to play with sticks and leaves or, go on a nature walk, or they're just excited, so we can be like that too and just allow the adventure of life to flow. And again, not needing to know how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, who it's going to be, all these details, but just know that it's happening at all times. And how it happens fast is if we want things to move along, when we only have this moment. So that's really all that we have to focus on. But if we do want things to move along and to see manifestations, how many moments of our day can we be the frequency of how we want to see our life and how we want to see the world? And the more that we're in that frequency, the world just has to match it in the external reality. So when I say we're all connected, we're all one, I just like to say there's no special breed of human that only they have access to being connected, only they have access to manifesting. Law of attraction only is benefiting. It's the same universal laws govern us all, and everything else is possibility. And if we can grasp that, then it's just a matter of if you hear something from someone that you've never heard before, we don't have to doubt or judge them or condemn them. We can just say, it's possibility, because it is. I mean, it's everything. So I learn new stuff all the time and become aware of stuff all the time. And none of us will ever know all the secrets of the universe. We won't. Not in this one incarnation. And so not needing to have all the secrets, just knowing you'll attract what you need in the time that you need it, and you can apply it if you choose to apply it, has given me all the peace that I need. And I just encourage everybody to just love each other and know that we're connected, because of all the reasons that I just shared. And when we start living life like that, we live with 7.7 billion humans, and life can be a lot of fun if you're not looking at everybody as separate. And I'm just all about us all helping each other and asking questions, better questions, as far as how can we all versus just how can I. Nothing wrong with the how can I question. But in addition, I like to ask the how can we question for humanity, which some really cool answers come in when we start asking questions like that.
It sounds like you're talking about win-win. Like, how can we all rise together instead of the old mentality of like, if I win, you have to lose, or we both lose. Instead of, it's like, how can we all rise together? And I really love what you said about, instead of seeing ourselves separate from someone when we see them doing something really cool, especially with all the social media, like constant comparison, scrolling, like unconscious scrolling, it can really trigger people and make them feel less than, and like their voice feels like it gets diminished almost because there's so much noise. And when we consume more than we create, like it feels like we're not so in touch with our own intuition, our own voice. So I just want to remind anyone who's listening, if you're in that downward spiral of feeling, I'm not doing enough, or this person's doing it better, or like you're feeling you're competing with someone else, like the only person you need to really look at is yourself, because who are you competing with? And instead of being in jealousy, looking at it as, this is what's possible. If they can do it, so can I. And I love how you said holding the frequency, like really holding the frequency, because I feel like you're so good at that. So thank you for reminding us of holding the frequency of what we want to attract, because a lot of people say, oh, I'll see it when I believe it, right? But really it's, I'll see it, or what is it? I'll see it when I believe it.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Whoever invented that saying wasn't seeing much. Life doesn't work that way at all. And I appreciate what you just said. We're reflecting each other as far as holding the frequency. So, and that's a great side note. Anytime we point out anything that we think is awesome in another human being, we can only see in another what is flowing from us. So we're just reflecting each other when it comes to that. And what I always love to remind people when it comes to, if we're comparing ourselves to other humans versus using it as inspiration, anything that any of us choose to create out there, no matter what it is, say you want to write a book out there, or say you want to do anything, and there could be 1 million books on that exact topic, but all those million people that wrote those books haven't had your life experience. So even though we're all the same as far as the non-physical energy, we're all having different life experiences. We're all having completely different expressions of that energy. So anything you choose to do with your expression here in this incarnation, it's going to be totally different than the frequency that all of us have experienced, from anyone else. So do whatever it is you're inspired to do, and just know the people that are a match to the frequency that you're putting out, whether it's music or art or whatever it is. Like, you're going to attract people that resonate with that frequency. And music is a great example of this. Like, when people ask me what kind of music I like, there's just a frequency that I enjoy. And if I really enjoy it, it goes onto my high vibe playlist, or my euphoria playlist, or my other playlist, which will remain nameless because it's just symbols and it's when I have a really good time in life. So just know that frequency we can all feel. And so just embody yours. Put out whatever it is that you're inspired to put out, and then you'll bring people to that frequency that resonate, no matter what it is that we're creating.
Beautiful. I just want people to think, like, when in my life have I attracted something synchronistic, or like, when have I been in a really good mood and I attracted all the green lights, like the best parking spots? Just noticing how your vibration has this ripple effect out. And just being really aware of that. And same with when you're in a really bad mood, attracting all the red lights and no parking spots and all of that, just becoming really aware. So we touched on how we're all connected in oneness. I wanted to open this idea up to you of sharing an experience in your life where you really have felt and seen the oneness. Like, have you had any experiences in your life where you've literally felt the connection of everything in life?
I've had some very recently. A I mean, you you teach sexuality, so can we go? Can I go there?
Yes, absolutely. It's open. Anything's open.
So this is my favorite part of life. So, like, literally, for me, just knowing that once I became aware that we were all connected, we were all one, and also when I became aware that energy, even though we have these cool labels of energy that we call in English, I only speak English, so like love, bliss, euphoria, ecstasy, nirvana, like these are just labels of really powerful frequencies. And I've been to events now at this point where I've had my brain waves measured with EEG monitors as well as my heart like waves and the energy of the room measured. Like I've been to events where there's just like awesome stuff. So you can see in 2020 and beyond in the moment frequency. But the cool thing about energy and frequency is there's no limit to it. And if we're present, ever enjoying something that we really, really love, like if we just allow the momentum to carry us up, you can be out there somewhere right now and just be at peace, just chilling. You know, you're just doing whatever you're doing. And then all of a sudden from that place of peace, like you're connected in that moment. So you can have an awesome idea come into your mind. And now you're like, ooh, that's a good idea. So now you have a bump in momentum. So now you're excited. And now you're doing a Google search because you're like, I know I've been wanting to create this, this, and this. And I feel like this is a really good idea for that. And then you get more momentum. And now you're doing something that you're passionate about. And then all of a sudden you're like blissed out because you're just enjoying the process of creation. And this could be anywhere in life. So with me just being aware of this, I found that in order to allow my frequency to go as high as it has gone so far in my life, and it's unlimited. So none of us have felt our highest frequencies yet. Just that's just the great news for all of us. So for me, when I connect with another human being that I didn't know existed 5 seconds ago, and it can happen in so many different ways. Like I could just be out in the world, and all of a sudden, like I'm making eye contact with someone that I'm like, this is an awesome human. And guys out there, I'm happily single right now. So whenever if I see a girl that I'm attracted to, since I was 13, 12, I would just go up and like say hello. Like that's just how I am because I don't look at them as a stranger. I'm just very curious about them. And it bothers my mind to not know who this human is. So there's just been so many scenarios where I'm so thankful to the universe because like I'm in a good mood, like Melissa said. This doesn't ever happen if I leave the house in a crap mood, and it doesn't happen for any of us. Like synchronicities that we want to see in our life happen, and it's a match to the frequency that we're in. It's the parts on the movie screen where you're like, damn, this is an awesome scene. That happens when you're in a good mood. When you're in a crap mood and you leave the house, which we're human, just know that that's the parts that you see, synchronicities on the movie screen, where it's like, shit, this character is going through it this time. I hope they get through this. This is what that happens because they're having interactions with other human beings that are rough, like traffic, all the things that Melissa mentioned. This is what happens for all of us. So my point is my favorite experiences in life are ones that I didn't know someone existed, and then all of a sudden we're face to face and might want to spend the rest of the day together or night and maybe consecutive. Who knows? Like I just like to let the energy flow wherever it flows. But whenever I'm spending time with someone in whatever capacity, like my only intention is how amazing the energy can feel. And this is when I'm doing anything, but I've noticed just with another person, it's easier to let it flow. And if you guys out there ask that question, no matter what you're doing, how amazing can this feel? Like how much momentum can you allow the frequency to build up? There's no limit to it. That's the answer. So it's fun to just see where life can go. And I like to ask after a really fun, typically sexual experience, do you think anybody on the planet is having like more fun right now in this moment than we are? And if so, I'm so happy for whoever that part of that 7.7 billion is out there that is. But I think it can only be a tie because the frequency is just like at a different place. So that's when I feel the most when I'm connected with another human being and just enjoying life, and so thankful to the universe for attracting this awesome human into my path because a second ago I didn't even know they existed. So
it's amazing. So you touched on a bit about how to flow our energy. Was there anything else that you wanted to add on to that before I ask you the next question?
Just total presence is what's required. So if you're ever involved in an experience, like say you're out there and you're having an intimate experience with your partner or with whoever, and all of a sudden you're thinking, oh my gosh, I wonder, are they enjoying it? Or is this good? Or do I have to do this? Or should I be doing this? Or any of the questions that we may have that loses presence, your momentum just, not only did it stop, but wherever you were, your momentum is sliding down because now you're in a frequency of worry. So that's not how you reach the higher frequencies. Like no matter what you're doing, you could be out there riding a horse, you could be out there going for a walk in nature. Try this next time you're out in nature, wherever you are. Just start being observant of all the beauty around you, the trees, the flowers, the wind, the birds. Like if you start noticing, be like, oh my gosh, like look at that awesome bird flying around. Your frequency is just rising the whole time, and you'll be you can be totally by yourself, but just like one with nature and just be blissed out. Just try it. Like just let your presence be what's most important to you in whatever it is that you're doing, especially when you notice you're enjoying yourself, and just see where the momentum will take you. Like you could have some awesome experiences no matter what you're doing.
I love how you said sight, because the work I do around getting women into embodiment and presence is all about tapping into the senses. It's very like a tantric lesson I love to teach, is getting into the sight, not like looking, but literally observing, just like taking it all in. What am I hearing? What am I tasting, seeing? Like all of it, touching. How does this fabric feel on my skin? Like all of these things. So thank you for touching on all of that. That was beautiful.
Everything Melissa just mentioned is all raisers of frequency. Every single one. Like anything that you do that's super present, focused, touch, feel, smell, taste, whatever, if you're paying attention to it and appreciating it, your frequency will rise every time.
Beautiful. So what are your favorite ways to raise your frequency, since we're talking about raising frequency?
So it's interesting. When I wake up in the morning, and I highly recommend people choose to start the day at as high of a frequency as they possibly can. Because for me, if I've felt connected to start the day with the divine, then it's very obvious if I allow myself to start to disconnect from it by being anxious or worried about something. Like, it's a noticeable change in frequency. And there was a time in my life where this was my greatest weakness, where it was just a roller coaster ride, because some days I wake up and immediately start thinking about all the stuff that I have to deal with today, and just a worrisome frequency right off the bat. And that's just a rough place for any of us to start. I typically leave the house in that frequency, and the whole day could just be a rough day. So at one time in my life, this was a blind spot, something that I wasn't aware of, and it was a big challenge for me. So now that it's, in my full consciousness, and it's all I really care about as far as what's my present moment, vibration, frequency, energy, mood, I use those words interchangeably. I like to start the day first thinking about things that I'm just appreciative of, just being awake, just have a roof over my head, just simple things, just happy. And it's a practice. Like all this stuff that I say, it's all a practice for all of us. So if we become aware of it and then start to choose it and then practice it, you become better and better and better at it, to where it's not like it, even though I say my only focus is my present moment, energy, awareness, frequency, mood, I don't really have to think about it that much because I've been practicing this so long. But again, I can feel it. I'm very aware of it if it starts to move in a direction where I don't like it to go, where I don't enjoy it. It's very noticeable. So I start the day just being appreciative. Then I use the bathroom, I'll drink some water, and I'll meditate. And the only times I don't meditate, I've noticed with me, is if I had so much fun like the night before, where I wake up in such a good mood, because I'm only meditating to put my frequency where I like it to be. And once I know I'm connected, like my meditation could be 5 minutes, especially when I have cool ideas popping in my mind during meditation. I call them little downloads. I'm writing those down, like meditation is done, like I'm excited to start the day, because you're only having awesome downloads when you are connected to divine. And so, yeah, then if I'm already in the day and I want a frequency raise, like music is awesome for me. Like I'm even like starting the day, I just have music playing. I had music playing when you came on here. I was already muted, but it was like playing this high frequency music. And nature. I love working out. I love exercise. Like I highly recommend everybody know the things that you enjoy in this world. And if you have the option to do any of them in this moment, do it. And there's levels to it. Like there's things where it's like, this is my favorite thing to do, which I know that for me, that is the human connection part that I already described. But there's so many things that, but here's the most important thing. If I'm choosing to do anything, and we're all free, like if you're watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, like you have the power of, like you have the freedom of internet, like you're free. So the cool thing is, if we choose to do anything with our time, no matter what it is, even if you're choosing to go to work, because you might not think it's a choice right now, but no one's forcing you to go do that. What I like to do is bring my full version of me there and my full presence, and just see how much, I can get out of the experience. Like just because, no matter what it is. So that's just my best advice, because that's going to allow our frequency to continue to be what it is and to raise, versus, oh, I'm going here, but I really don't feel like it. I don't feel like seeing any of these people today. And it's just going to be a rough go. We've all been there and probably all done that, but that's just not going to be the same experience no matter what you're doing. So know what you love out there. Do it as much as possible. Don't ever let anyone tell you that what you're doing, you shouldn't be doing it, or should and should doesn't even come out of my mouth. Like, if all I have is this moment and I have an option to do something that sounds fun and enjoyable, Would I rather be doing something that's less fun and enjoyable? I'm just going to choose the fun and enjoyable thing. So, teach their own.
Yes. Every choice we make in each moment is compounding. So we have a constant choice of growth or decay. Like a tree, like everything living is either alive or decaying, right? So same with us humans, like every choice we make, we're either moving towards growth or we're growing or moving towards decay, right? So it's like sitting down watching TV or going outside for a walk. It's like, which choice are we going to make here? And knowing that each one compounds, creating our frequency, either raising or diminishing.
Side note to what Melissa just said, it's how we choose to do the thing. So you could choose to watch like Netflix and just be like super excited and entertained and like you're vibing high, and then all of a sudden an awesome idea will pop in. It can pop in your mind from there. Or you could be watching Netflix and be like, I'm so bored. This is the 10th series that I've watched. I can't go anywhere right now. Like, this sucks. You're decaying in those moments. Like what Melissa just mentioned, it's all in the moment also, which is super interesting. And I mean, not a big deal if you decay is so harsh, but it's true. If you're sitting there like in this moment and you're just like blaming the world and just feeling like crap, like yeah, your body is producing like a few million brand new cells right now, and every single one of them is like diseased in that moment because you're stressed. Like it's just, that's all they can be, is a match to your frequency. So if you stay stressed for a full day and wonder why at the end of the day you have a headache and you're starting to feel like worn down and it's hard to sleep, that's why. Stay stressed for a few days, regardless if there was anything going on our planet right now, illness-wise or not. You're still vulnerable to illness and disease when you're in the energy, when you're embodying the frequency of how you'll feel if you had a sickness or a disease. How would you feel? Powerless, depressed, like run down, like you just wouldn't feel good. So if you're putting yourself in that frequency now, do it long enough and you'll manifest, that. And I never like to scare people as far as you're the reason that all this stuff is manifesting. But you're a co-creator in it, that's for sure. There could be lots of different reasons why things happen, and I don't go into all that because that's not my work to know all the reasons why. But we are a co-creator in everything that's going on in our lives for sure, and we're co-creators in what's going on in the planet, and it's a different conversation. But it's all for our good as long as we can, okay, this is a rough situation that I'm in right now. This is where I'd like to be. This is where I'd like to live. This is how I'd like to feel. Embody that, start living from there, and then you get to manifest a new reality, whether you call that wellness or success or whatever we want to call it out there. So,
thank you for clarifying that. It's not so much in the act of what we're doing, but it's in the beingness, right? The energy we put into it.
For sure.
So another thing you love to talk about is that we can be, do, and have anything. So I'd love to know more about your perspective on that. How did you get to learn that, and why is it something that's so connected to your message? We would love to know more.
This is my favorite thing to know, and it's two-part. It started off just knowing it for me and seeing, okay, so if all that manifestation is because of all the life experiences that we've had up until now, every single one of us is more clear as of right now than we've ever been in our lives as far as what we like, what we don't like, what we want, what we don't want. Great news for all of us. If you're still feeling a little bit confused about areas of life, live more life, experience more life, because tomorrow you'll be more clear, next week you'll be more clear, next month, next year. Those days aren't promised to us, but as we arrive at them, we'll be more clear when we get there because we're going to live life along the way. And so just knowing that if we can bless the life experiences from the past as far as the lessons that were learned from them, the parts were like, ooh, that was a rough part of life, so I'm going to leave that there. But I'm going to bring the new clarity that I have as far as what I do want for this area of life and focus on that, embody the frequency of that like we've been talking about in this episode. Then you get to start having cool synchronicities, cool thoughts and ideas, interactions with other people that are matched to that frequency. And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, this that I wanted in the area of career or this that I wanted in the area of relationship, I'm living it now because I've been on the path. Like all that any of us have to focus on is, being on the path, and the path is only right here in this moment. Like the future steps on the path don't exist. And even when we get to those future steps, in quotes, it's still going to be right now. So we're always going to be in just an endless moment of right now. And so if we just focus on just that and just be able to bring our frequency that we want to bring, embodying the things that we want to be, do, and have, then we get to see all the synchronicities, all the things that right now we have no idea how, when, where, who. but it'll unfold. And when by the time that we get there and we're like, whoa, I'm living that physical manifestation of what, a year ago or a month ago or 5 years ago I said that would be really awesome to live. By that time, you're already going to have new things because your life experiences cause you to now say, ooh, I really want to experience this, this, and this, and create this, this, and this. So it started off just being super excited for that for me and just seeing awesome things. But then I like to take it a step further because I'm like, well, if we all can be, do, and have anything, and we're all this same non-physical energy, I want to ask questions is how can humanity have this, this, and this, and apply my questions to everyone else on the planet that also might want the same things that I want, because there's not a limited supply. Melissa mentioned this earlier. Like a lot of times we think, and there's probably been a time where it's like, well, there can only be so many actors in LA. When I was in LA trying to act, and that was a limited, mindset, and that's one of the reasons, along with I wasn't really passionate about the industry and wasn't focusing my energy there. But one of the reasons that I wasn't able to make it in acting after my sports career didn't, go the way I wanted it to go, is having that unlimited, abundant mentality, that mindset, just knowing that all of us can be, do, and have anything, and then we can start asking questions for humanity. And the answers that I've been getting in the last, year or two, as far as that goes, led me to podcasts and just creating different things. And I really have a beautiful vision for, and I'll share with your audience at some point when you ask me. But I have a beautiful vision for where we're going as a humanity, because we can do it so easily now because we're all so connected. We have brains in our pockets that can go from just a little device being in your purse, ladies, to all of a sudden you're recording high definition videos and like sharing it with like however many people on the planet like that are on the internet, which is like billions. So we're in an awesome space right now for all of us.
We are, and I feel like this would be a wonderful time to touch on all this quarantine stuff. Like, is there any message you want to share with our listeners? Where you see our humanity going, like restoring faith in any uncertainty that people may be feeling right now? Any message you want to share?
Yeah. First, be really just introspective as far as what matters to you in your life. Like, what areas of life, like, have you been wanting to get some momentum going behind them, whether it be your health, your relationships, your career, whatever it is. And it's always a good time to be asking these questions on what would I like to see evolve in my life. I think right now, because we do have extra time on our hands, in the sense of, even though there's always 24 hours in the day, there's things that all of us are used to doing in our life right now. That's a normal part of our routine. That is not an option for you to do right now. So that hour that you spent doing that, or 2 hours that you spend doing that, you have those hours. So you feel like you have extra time. I know I feel like I've had a ton of extra time throughout this whole process. So I've just been asking, what areas of my life do I want to see evolve and build even more momentum in? And I've been putting more time and energy on that. And a lot of it has to do with the things that I'm creating, for humanity and all of these things. And so what I see for humanity right now is, just on the individual level, people asking themselves those questions that matter to them and building momentum in those areas. And then when we do have all the options that we normally have, again, and some additional ones as we all evolve, and we're going to be creating new things, which is awesome. The world's always evolving. Then it's just going to be really fun to see what you guys out there have decided to put your focus and your attention on, because it just makes the whole collective experience here as humanity more fun when you guys are out there creating awesome stuff. Maybe it's a new technology, maybe it's a new food that we don't know about. Who knows? There's somebody cooking up something right now in the kitchen that we haven't tried yet, and I'm like, this is going to be amazing when we try it. So I'm just excited for all of you guys to do that. And just as a collective, like, I'm really excited as more light bulbs come on and we realize all the things we've been talking about in this episode, that we are all connected and all one, for more people to start asking the question of, how can we help each other thrive in whatever areas matter to us? Like, for me, I just know none of us were alive here in this incarnation, but back in the day when humanity was just, everybody came together to the tribe and they had their thing that they offered, whether it was you like to cook, you like to hunt, you like to build things, you created shoes, whatever it was, everybody had their thing that they were drawn to and that they were doing for the community, which allowed everybody to be abundant and everybody to enjoy their life. They weren't thinking about, oh, I gotta, sorry tribe, I gotta go spend 12 hours at this job that I don't want to spend at it right now, or I gotta go do this. There was no things that, it was all part of just living abundant and free. And not that didn't come with their own special challenges, because they had saber-toothed tigers and things chasing them around the forest. So other, challenges that we don't deal with today. And at the same time, I really see us having a 2020 and beyond version of that. And as long as I'm here, we'll help create that, because all of us have special, things that we're drawn to. And you out there listening, there's something that you've had more life experience doing and you're more passionate about than 99% of the other humans on the earth, which is awesome. So, and plus, since you're delivering that life experience with your own, your expression of the non-physical energy we've been talking about, and it's coming through your unique life experiences, it's going to be different than all the rest. So I just really encourage everybody to just really get clear on what those things are that you are passionate about, that you want to bring forth, because you're going to start seeing more and more opportunities. I'm going to promote universal abundance at some point on this conversation, but just what I see is this humanity being able to have a 2020 and beyond version where everybody is abundant, everybody is free, and everybody is focused on whatever it is that's most valuable to them, whatever they want to bring forth to humanity, which is going to make the collective more awesome, and everybody doing it from this perspective of all of us are connected, all of us are one, and I'm not any better or worse than you, and it's just awesome. And we can all just bring forth and just create, a new earth, however it is that we want to see it.
I love how you mentioned tribe, because as you were talking, it brought up intuitively, like, I feel like we're so connected, right? Like, we are built to lean on each other. We need each other. And each of us is part of this divine recipe of humanity, and we are all being called forth to really step into our work and our mission right now. And if you're feeling any self-doubt, if you're feeling hesitation, if you're feeling blocks, just know that we are both here for you. But remember, you are here. Please do not second guess yourself for any reason, because you are here with a divine purpose. So we would love to know, what is your unique story and what inspired you to do what you do? I feel like we kind of touched on a little bit, but if there's anything else you want to touch on regarding that, I would love to know as well.
For me, I'm so simple. Once I discovered what I just described as far as that all of us can be, do, and have anything, it just started with me asking questions on how would I want to experience this life? How do I want to live? And the answer to that is, I just want to wake up every morning for my entire life, however long that is that I'm here. Tomorrow's not promised to any of us. I feel like I'm going to be here for a while because there's lots of things that I want to help evolve for humanity. But there's some things still to be done. But regardless of how long that is, I just want to wake up every morning and ask myself two questions. Very simple. What sounds most fun and what sounds most fulfilling? And whatever the answer is to that question, and what allowed me to start asking more questions in the universe on, show me how this can be created for me initially. Now that's expanded to humanity, because now I want humanity to also be able to wake up every morning and ask themselves that two questions. Like, out there listening right now, like, close your eyes and ask yourself, like, if you woke up in the morning, say you just woke up, and you ask yourself, what sounds most fun? What sounds most fulfilling? And just let that flood into your mind without having the additional question that a lot of us have had to ask at some point in our life is, well, do I have enough time or do I have enough money for that? Because that's the question that we also ask. So I asked the universe, show me how I can create something for me. And then it graduated to how I can create something for humanity, where we never have to ask that question of, do I have the time and the money? Because we're abundant in all areas: health, relationships, time, money, everything. And so, like, if that's the question we're asking, and the answer that comes is, I want to go travel with my friends and family, like, to the other side of the world and attend this awesome event and just spread love and just enjoy life over there. Or I want to put my time and energy and focus on helping the environment. Or I want to put my time and energy and focus on creating, difference in education, so that kids can learn things that might be even more valuable for them, or whatever it is. We're all drawn to different things. But if everybody was asking that question and then could just live it out, what kind of world would we be living in? It'd just be awesome. You'd have all these people, millions or billions of us, that are just focused their attention, their energy, not on what they have to do, but what lights them up the most doing. And that's the world that I want to see and live in. So that starts with me, and then it starts with creating things so that everybody can do that.
Absolutely. So for our listeners, who has been your greatest influence and mentor in your life? Because you are such an incredible man, and I would just love to know, who have you kind of seen as, someone you look up to, or a role model in that regard?
I would say my dad has been probably just, and not even because of consciously sharing any of this stuff that I'm sharing with you guys, as far as but embodying it, being an example of it. Like, that's why I go back to the best way that we can teach and help another human being is just being the example of it. So this like lit up energy for life and just enjoying and like doing things that he's passionate about. This is what I've seen from my dad like my whole life. And so like we had a connection and a bond from baseball, just the sports career that I thought I was going to have. My dad played, in his day, and still his number one passion is coaching kids, and like he does it almost every day. Like he's 72, and he's just always like around some kids, like helping them, and the things that he can do, like active wise, is like way at a higher level than me, and he's twice my age. So I mean, it's just awesome. Like the things that my shoulder from surgery, don't allow, he can do at his age. So just that example that he's always given as far as just enjoying life and having fun and just being. It's always fun to talk to him. So like for me, I just feel like if I can be that version for others, where it's just like it's always fun to talk to me because I'm having fun talking to you. Like I don't have to try. I'm just like I'm gonna have like talking to you today, Melissa. I'm like I'm gonna have as much fun talking to you as I can possibly can. I don't know what we're gonna talk about. I don't know where it's gonna go or any of this stuff, but it's gonna be fun. And that's probably the best example that I've been given, throughout my life. And as I've become more conscious of the things that I'm sharing in this episode, it's been obvious why things have, worked out the way they have for my dad and, all this stuff, because he's just embodying being connected, to the divine. That's the best way that I can describe it. It's just when we're in these energies of peace, calm, happy, excited, love, passionate, bliss, anything that you want to describe it that feels good. In that moment, you're connected with the divine. Like, I love to say this example because, we use words like love as not so much as a right now frequency, but we use it as something like external, like I love you, which if you took a lie detector test, you would probably pass, for sure. But in the moment, if you're like throwing something at that person or yelling at them, you're not being love. Like if we were measuring frequency of that's not the love frequency that you're throwing something in. That's the rage frequency, the anger frequency. So, I just like to remind that energy is always only in the moment. And in the moments where we are feeling good and we are connected, we can trust the thoughts that come into our mind in those moments because they're only going to be from that frequency. We're going to be channeling from that frequency. You can trust the words because your words are just a reflection of your thoughts. And you can trust your actions because you're only going to have actions coming from that frequency as well, loving actions or, happy actions or whatever it is. So, and vice versa. If you're in a crap mood, I mean, not to judge it, but if you just say, hey, I'm frustrated right now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but if you can be aware of it, you have a choice to do something about it, to release or to sit in it, or whatever you want to do. My best advice, though, is if you realize that your frequency is one of, feeling anything less than peace or calm, don't go talk to other humans. Like, don't take your frustrated frequency and like have frustrated words in your mind and frustrated, words come out of your mouth and frustrated actions. It's just gonna spike more momentum, and then you'll be apologizing afterwards, like, shouldn't have said that. Just save yourself and save them. In fact, don't even talk to yourself. In those moments where you're frustrated, there's no words that you're gonna say to yourself that are gonna be uplifting. So, find the things that you can do to allow your frequency to rise. And all the different tools and techniques and practices that we have out there. Take a few conscious breaths. That will always slow momentum down. Meditate if you can do that. Just be able to release the momentum and then go back to living and experiencing life with other humans when you're back. I see that so much. People just like living from and experiencing life with other humans from a place of just, it's not a frequency that you're going to have many great life experiences from. So just be mindful of it.
And there is a practice called swamping. This is from the book Pussy. For any women out there who have not read that book, please do yourself a favor and the entire world to read this book. But she talks about this practice called swamping, where you embody your anger, you embody your frustration in a healthy way. So whether that means getting a group of girlfriends together and your brothers together once a month and rolling around in the mud together within a safe container, whether that's throwing a dish rag or like whipping a dish rag on the wall or like hitting a bamboo stick on a pillow, like really releasing your anger, but then letting it go. It's so healthy to feel these emotions, but within a container that is healthy for you, for others, where you're not spreading your toxicity, but you're able to release it in a healthy way. So yeah, please don't go polluting other people's minds with these lower vibrations.
You want to hear something really awesome really quick? And I'll shout out,
yes.
Janelle was on my podcast in the Bay Area. She gave me this example, but for years I've been using the example of human beings are the only ones that bring past baggage into the present moment, and we can actually embody the frequency as if we were experiencing the trauma all over again. Like animals in the wild, like you won't ever see a gazelle that is stressed out in the wild. Like, damn, yesterday there was this lion and he almost got me. I thought I was gone. Like, I've just been so worried all day. Like, that doesn't exist. But what Janelle pointed out, which is awesome and highlights exactly what Melissa just described. Before the gazelle goes back to being instinctual, back to being in their present self, yeah, they shake themselves out and then they're back. So I was like, dude, that's such a perfect example of what they do. Because, I mean, so what you just described is a perfect example. So whatever that is for you in a healthy way, just be cautious, though. If that's like hitting a wall, the wall's probably going to win. And that rage that you just put out against the wall, you'll probably break your hand. And just know. So how you choose to express that, just know that there could be some repercussion, how you choose it. But
yes. Yeah, you can smack a pillow. I mean, just find things that are not destructive, right? Long term. So, do you have any books you'd recommend? You mentioned a book earlier, so just want to refer back to any books that you would recommend for our listeners.
I do. So Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now, came along in my life at the perfect time. Like, it was so synchronistic. I was living with 5 roommates in LA, and only thing left in that house in the corner of the garage were 4 spiritual books. This was at a time where I was like probably at my lowest as far as just life was just a roller coaster ride. Like, I really wasn't excited about anything. I didn't like the job I was working at. I was just like a depressed time of life, and it was because I was thinking about future. Like, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when. And so I saw these 4 spiritual books. I respected the books because I had heard of a few of them, but then the Power of Now, that stood out to me, and so that was super helpful as far as just bringing, like, that started my journey of what's now I consider to be my greatest strength is present moment awareness and only caring about this present moment, realizing that's all that exists for any of us. A few years later down the journey, I was in a mastermind, and we were going around the table just talking about what our view was for humanity, like what we wanted to see created. And after I shared mine, awesome woman came up to me who I respected a lot and said, hey, I think that this book would like be super useful for you. It's called A Happy Pocket Full of Money, David Cameron Gikandi. And previously I had gone to a seminar where the lady speaking said, I think it was like Rita something, awesome speaker. But she said, anything that you watch, read, or listen to 7 times becomes a part of you. So I read this book 7 consecutive times, not just because I was trying to like make that happen, but because it was that good. And like it starts like first chapter is on quantum physics, second chapter is on time is an illusion, and it just like builds the whole time. So those are probably the 2 that stand out the most. Oh, look at you. Awesome.
I just bought it.
Love it. That's a fun read. It builds the whole time. He just affirms for no reason, like, I mean, not for no reason, but throughout the whole book, he just affirms, I am wealth, I am abundance, I am joy, or something like that. Yeah, I'm wealth, I'm abundance, I am joy. He just affirms it throughout, just like randomly, like you're just reading the affirmation.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned 3 books. Power of Now, which was also recommended by the previous episode guest as well, Megs Emerson. So if you haven't read that yet, it's obvious that the universe wants you to read it now.
You have to read the second book too to that, because his follow-up was A New Earth. Him and Oprah.
A New Earth.
Yeah, that book impacted me more, but I needed the Power of Now foundation before I was like ready for that. I'm sure you could probably just go straight to that, but I recommend in that order. I think it's most impactful.
Okay. So Power of Now, and then A New Earth, and then Happy Pocket Full of Money, and then you also mentioned Science of Getting Rich. Would you recommend that as well?
That's like, as far as like when you see things like The Secret and all this stuff, like that stuff is pulled from, like, The Science of Rich was getting written in 1919. There's not many books on law of attraction that we have access to that are older than that, and and it's short. So for people that aren't like active readers yet, you can get the things that you are ready for as far as your awareness of law of attraction goes. And the beautiful thing about that is he didn't want to charge for that. Like, it was just like he just wanted that to be out in the world. Wallace Wattles, the author, who was a pastor back in 1919. And so it's free. Like, you can literally, somebody can Google it and you can read it right now, anywhere that you are, right online. So, yeah.
Beautiful. So I just want to give you a little moment to talk about anything that you're offering and just share with like your Instagram, your website, just give you some time to really share with the world what you're offering right now.
Love it. So you guys, to follow me on the Angel of Abundance is my handles on Instagram and all these places. A spiritual teacher in New York, shout out to Adriana, has been calling me that for months, and it was just like a nickname that just gave me the chills. And I started seeing myself introduced like different speaking engagements around the world as the Angel of Abundance, and this is just an awesome nickname. And it spurred from, she's a part of my community, which is called the Universal Abundance Community, and the whole point is to basically take a combination of information, which we're in the information age, so it's out there, but from just powerful, like, different, everybody I feel is powerful, has something to share. I collaborate mostly with, teachers and healers and coaches, and so I do so many collaborations that we're creating this powerful database of like information, but taking it a step further and giving people access to these awesome humans. Like, even though this book is awesome, I couldn't go and call them up and say, hey, David, like on page 35, like what were you talking about there? Like, that wasn't a choice for me. And so I don't know how many people have like access to best-selling authors and teachers and all this stuff, unless you're in their private mastermind. But I wanted to give people access to that. And so that's a big part of what we do as well, giving people access to these humans. And then the monetization is what the universe has shown me in order for us to be able to live how I described, where the light bulb is on because of the awareness that we're all, stepping into, and then being able to ask the question of what sounds most fun, what sounds most fulfilling, and not do I have enough time and do I have enough money. So had to get that part down. And that's what is a missing element for a lot of people, is the time and the money to go do the things that they want to do. And so the monetization is simple. Like, anything that we're uplifted by and impacted by, what do we do as humans? We typically share it with someone, and a good movie, a restaurant, whatever it is. So I knew that if I can uplift people's consciousness collaboratively so that you can get something from me or from various of the other tons and tons and tons of powerful humans that are adding to the collective of what we're offering. And so by creating this and you're being uplifted by it, naturally you probably want to share it. So we just created a monetization in a way to where just by you doing something that helps the community, helps the whole, we also reward you heavily monetization-wise, so where now you have money coming in every month, and now you can go take that and go spend the time doing whatever it is that you want to be doing. So very, very unique setup and creation of this, and the universe has just shown me this through so many meditations and downloads, the pieces that I'm ready for to apply, and they're constantly growing. I got an awesome new download that's going to help everything even more yesterday, so it's just constant. But this is available right now, universalabundance.co, or you can see it on any of my Instagram stuff. I'm always talking about it. But everybody on the planet's invited, because I want to live in a world where everybody can go out there and create whatever they're inspired to create. And this is something that is built in addition to what you guys are doing. So everybody has the specific journeys that we're on and things that we're doing most right now. This is something that is in addition, like a continued, extension of everything you're already doing that could just bring more abundance into your life in all areas that matter to you. That's my pitch for all of you guys. Everybody in the world is invited. Come hang out.
I love that. The oneness. You're all about it. So make sure to follow Noel over at the Angel of Abundance, and your website. Do you mind sharing your website again real fast?
Yeah. universalabundance.co.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Yeah. And the last question, anything you feel intuitively to share that will help humanity as a whole?
Absolutely. Just remember who you truly are, who we all truly are. And that's just different expressions of this beautiful non-physical energy. Call it whatever you want to call it out there, whatever you resonate with, and you're just that. I look at the ocean right here. The ocean is right out here. I'm in Miami Beach, so I turned the air conditioner off before I did this so it wouldn't be making any noise in the background. And you can see I'm like sweating as a result, because it's like, I'm not complaining, but it's warm here in Miami today. But the ocean is right there. And the analogy that I want to leave you with, and this is how I see humanity, is if the ocean is representative of all that is the universe, like every element of it. If that's the ocean, then you out there listening, all of us are the individual waves. And, as a wave, we come here and we have our human experience here on the sand. We spend the time here, and then what happens? Some of it, the wave stays out in the all that is, with all that is, in non-physical. And then when it's time for us to go back out, some of the wave stays here on the sand, our physical body. And then we go back out with all that is, and we continue to be, and we will continue to be for all eternity. And that's who you are. So know that the ocean couldn't exist without each individual wave. Also know those waves aren't comparing themselves to each other, saying, why is that wave bigger over there in Hawaii? Like, I'm just a little small Miami wave. Like, they're not doing that. Because without all of the waves, we wouldn't have any oceans. We wouldn't have all that is. So you matter. every single person out there, you are a part of the collective and you matter, and whatever it is that you choose to bring forward while you're here, I'm rooting for you and I'm super excited for whatever that is because A, I want to experience it, and B, I want you to just fully embody whatever that is because I know it's going to feel good to you and you're going to inspire those around you to go do the same. And that's the humanity that I see right now and all ongoing as long as we're all here playing together in 2020 and beyond.
What a beautiful analogy. Keep making the ripples. You are the waves and going back into source. I love that. So beautiful.
I appreciate you. We're reflections. You're so much fun, Melissa. I'm so excited for everything that you're bringing forth and for your Awaken Your Soul audience. Awesome. Definitely listen to this podcast, share it, review it. You can review more than once for you guys out there. So definitely fill up Melissa's reviews with cool things that you're inspired to share because she's awesome and keep sharing this space with awesome people I already know.
And if you loved this episode, please check out Noelle's episode that we recorded last week. How can people find that? That hasn't come out yet, right? How can people find that?
At the time of this recording, which whatever day today is on the calendar, and Melissa's is not out yet, but it will be out soon. And I wish I knew off the top of my head what episode you will be. I could tell you if you wanted to wait, but I have to go into my hard drive and look. And I don't want.
We'll have it in the show notes.
Yeah.
We'll have it there when we have it published.
She will be an episode, and I highly recommend you listening or watching on YouTube if you want because it's powerful. We flowed some awesome energy, and I really got down to the depths of what Melissa is creating and bringing forth in the world, and it's awesome. So highly recommend. That was a really fun episode.
I'm so grateful for our collaborations and how we can take turns with each other. So thank you so much for all of your beautiful messages you shared with us and for radiating this beautiful frequency out into the world and uplifting humanity. We are so grateful for you.
I appreciate you. I just want to say to the audience, until we connect again, sending you all just tons of positive, happy, healthy, abundant vibes. Whenever this frequency reaches you, like just embody it and then go just flow it out to whoever is around you, and you'll inspire everybody around you and start the ripple effect too as well. So appreciate you. And when can we hear some guitar from behind? I've been looking at that the whole time. When can we expect that? Is that on YouTube or where do we find this?
Oh man, no, not yet. One day I'll share.
Awesome.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Noelle. Have a beautiful day, and we will be in touch.
Yes. Yeah, appreciate you, Melissa. You're awesome.
Thank you.